So what are we talking about today?
We're talking about potential and what to do if you feel like, if you're not, because there's that thing that you will see on your report card, has potential, doesn't channel it, sort of thing.
Yes.
You know, do you remember that?
You know what mine used to say?
Go on.
Emilie would do really well if she paid attention.
AKA is not living up to potential because isn't applying herself within the constructor school.
Right.
But then we'll leave that to one side. But yes, it's like what to do. We're going to cover in just some nice little basic steps what to do if you feel like you're not fulfilling your potential, because you will have people come into your life and they have a very different take on, number one, how you should be living your life.
Yes.
There will be people, to be fair, that will see your brilliance when you perhaps don't. But those people won't turn around to you and be like, you're not fulfilling your potential. They will gently encourage you to step outside your comfort zone and be your biggest like cheerleaders. That's very different from those people in your lives turn up like your school report card, as in you're not fulfilling your potential.
Their idea of it. And
Yes.
I think that's a really nice place to start, is actually, you know, defining what that potential is that you want to achieve. Because I think that everybody has an infinite potential.
Yes.
And we actually have many different routes we could take. And one of the exercises I get my clients to do sometimes, if they're thinking about that career pivot, is I say, if you had 10 different lives, what would your 10 different careers be? And so, and you know, let's not get too spiritual, but maybe it's possible that we live this life several times, and in each one we have a different career and different potential that we fulfill.
Or, because I'm always like with like quantum, like string theory and like quantum physics, it's like, even if I'm not doing that in this life, I'm doing it in a parallel life.
Exactly. So if we say that it's not like we just have one potential to fulfill, there's lots of different areas in which we have a lot of potential. One of the important things is tapping into which area you want to explore and which has meaning for you, which is actually one of the things I put in my book, Maximum You, is some questions to help people answer that. Because often it gets projected onto us. So for example, let's take like the Beckhams, right? David Beckham was a very talented, extremely talented footballer,
for sure,
who was driven to practice obsessively from a young age. He then has children who may, through genetics, have some of that natural talent. And he may watch them play football and see huge potential in their futures as footballers. I'm thinking particularly of his boys. And I don't know if he has or not, but he could then, as a parent, the temptation is to see that potential in the thing that meant a lot to us, and then see that our child has that same potential and push them in that direction when it's not really true to them. And what we see with his children is actually you can see the boys, in a way, trying different things out because they're trying to work out the thing that they want to go and explore, and it isn't football. So I do think one of the things to watch out for is you have lots of potential in lots of areas, but your parents might tell you you have potential in the area that they value, that either they've explored themselves, or it might be an area that was unfulfilled for them.
Yes.
That they didn't get to express. Maybe they were a frustrated actress, they never really got to act, and they see that skill in you, so they really push you in that direction.
Definitely. I do see it. I don't think with the Beckhams, but I know Wayne Rooney, I think 2 of his sons are signed already to like a young stars football club. And
they might be brilliant at it, and that might be the thing that they love the most. So it's not to say that you also shouldn't do what your parents did, but I do think it's important, you know, as you grow up and as you're becoming a self-actualizing adult, to really go, am I doing this for me because it's what I want to do, or for someone else? Because I do think that everybody is talented in lots of different ways.
Definitely.
And you and I have different careers we could have had as well that we would have been really good at. But it's just working out, where do I want to find out my potential? And one of the ways I like to think about potential rather than potential is really, where do I want to find out what I'm capable of?
Yes.
Because I could be, for example, one of the things I explored as a teenager was becoming an accountant. Okay, because I know it seems like you look at me now and think,
I'm not saying anything.
But
continue.
But I would have been a perfectly good accountant.
Yes, you would.
And I was inspired because one of my parents' friends was an accountant, and he seemed to be living a great life, which he was. I don't think it was because he was an accountant, but he had this fantastic Cobra car.
Amazing.
And he had a speedboat, and he travelled. Like, he had this great life.
So it's less about being an accountant, I'm hearing.
But my childlike brain went, well, what does he do for a living?
Was it 2 and 2 equals
sports
pineapple?
Sports car and a speedboat. So So I did work experience in accountancy, and
Yeah.
about two hours in, as a 16-year-old, thought this is not for me.
No way.
But I could have done that.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? There's lots of things I could have done, and I could have found out how far I wanted to get in that part of my career. And I went into finance, which I really loved, and I wanted to find out what I was capable of in that context, and I did. I got pretty far pretty fast. But then even then, I could have gone further, and I thought, actually, no, I found my potential here. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
What would I like to be really, really great at?
Yes.
And I realised I wanted to help people thrive in their lives, and particularly in their careers. And I wanted to help as many people as possible. And so I was like, right, so how do I fulfill my potential in that direction? And I think that can change, as we talked about last time in pivots. But I think it's one of the things you've got to work out is, where do I want to find out what my potential is? And just because you're capable of something doesn't mean that that's what you should be doing.
Exactly. And I feel like, so if like we have, I agree with you completely, that infinite potential within us. And therefore, to achieve your potential, it becomes more about where you feel you're going to thrive the most and what you enjoy and what fulfills you. Because as humans, we all need purpose, right? And we need to feel like we're fulfilling our purpose. That's very important. And so potential becomes, to fulfill your potential, it's about picking things that feel really great and true for you and that bring you joy.
I want to just bring one caveat in, though, because I don't think everybody, to be happy and fulfilled, needs to be pushing themselves to the extent that maybe you or I or some of our clients do. That last week we talked about motivators, and we talked about certainty. There are some people that for them, a very fulfilling, satisfying life will be to have the same job for their whole lives, to have it be very structured, to be very stable, to be a very stable person for their family, for the people in their life. And I don't want anyone to take away from this conversation the idea that there's anything wrong with that, or there's anything less than that.
No.
So I think this question of potential comes in if you feel like something's missing, or that there's something undone, or that you're thinking about legacy and what will I leave behind, and is this enough? But if you're feeling really contented and happy with it, then I think that's okay. I don't think everyone has to go and do some deep work and find a purpose and then go and really push themselves. I have seen for myself and a lot of clients, a huge amount of positive personal growth can come from that. But it doesn't even need to be in your job. It can be, James, who runs Rugged, he sets himself all these really amazing physical challenges and achieves them. It might be that outside of your career, it's that you're finding out what you're capable of physically or in resilience. And I do think there's a huge amount of confidence that comes with that. But I don't want everyone to feel like, oh, every day I have to be pushing myself to the edge. That I don't think there's anything wrong with stability, is what I'm trying to say there.
For sure, because I feel like we can get, our brain hears potential, and then it translates that message to amazing career, amazing ideal family, smashing all the jobs, we're meditating for an hour in the morning, and we're like cold plunging and meditating and red light saunaing and sitting in our boots, the compression boots and everything. I don't really understand too much about it, but I see it and I think, but I'm sure it has a very good place if you're an athlete.
Yes.
So yes, what our brain interprets fulfilling potential as doing all the things, but actually it can mean what we want to do, and makes us, we can apply it to just one of those areas.
Well, and one at a time.
Exactly.
Like, I'm a mother right now. I'm not, but say someone's a mother right now, they might say, I want to explore what my potential would look like as a mother for this particular phase. Or it might be, I want to contribute, in a charitable sector, or contribute to my community. What would that look like? So it can also be this kind of very nurturing aspect as well.
Exactly. And I feel like as well, with potential, we feel like there's a gold standard, but actually fulfilling our potential is doing the best that we can with our circumstances and where we find ourselves at in life right now. So if you are in the trenches, you're in a difficult career, the children aren't sleeping, anything like that, sometimes doing your potential is just doing the best you can on that day. Absolutely.
So let's unpack a little bit then about what are some of the things, though, that might make someone just even feel like they're not fulfilling it, but that might not be true. But it's, sometimes it's just that they're having that feeling because it's almost like that inner critic. So what makes people feel like they're not fulfilling their potential?
I feel like it's like that little, it's not like so primitive brain and that emotional voice will show up and it'll be like, this isn't right, you don't know what you're doing. That's like the voice of the inner critic. It's quite dramatic, it's quite loud and very shouty. But when it's like, it's the small voice that keeps appearing in maybe the quieter moments that is like, I don't know if I really like being here. It's a much more...
Is this it?
Yes.
Question. Yes.
Is this it? Can I do this? Can I see myself? Do I want to be doing this? I can't believe, like, in 10 years or 5 months, 5 years, 10 years, is this all there is? Is this all I want to do? That's kind of like a little quiet voice that says, maybe I'm ready to sort of start growing just to the next stage.
I think that is such a good way of phrasing it, of then thinking about making a change.
Yeah.
And one of the ways I saw it was when I was in my banking career, I would look up at the people above me, because that's obviously where you're heading if you keep going. And I would think, I mean, I was very impressed by them.
100%.
But I would think, do I want that life?
Yeah.
Is that what I want to be doing with my time when I'm at their age? And sometimes I go through those questions with my clients, and sometimes they're like, yes, great, I want to be there. Sometimes they're like, yeah, no, I really... Some of them have a very strong reaction, like, oh my God, I absolutely don't want to be where that person is. And so I think that kind of looking ahead and saying, if I keep tracking in this direction, how am I feeling about it is a really good question. Because that, again, coming back to our last episode on pivoting, that can be the sign of, do I need to pivot? Is it just a mild course correction? What is it I'm not doing right now that means I don't feel I'm fulfilling my potential?
Exactly. Sorry.
And then what I was going to say, on the flip side of that, then there can be, you figure out something else you want to do, but then it gets really scary. Yeah. Because I think an easy place is just to kind of stay in the safe zone and do what everyone expects of you and one foot in front of the other. But if you suddenly get an idea of some potential you might have in another area that you haven't fulfilled yet, it might be getting you out of your comfort zone. Obviously, all that, primal brain things kick in. And actually, sometimes the idea of being incredibly capable or achieving a lot is scarier than not achieving and just being in the middle of the road. There's something that the brain can find terrifying about finding out what we're really capable of.
Because we're opening ourselves up for the potential that actually we're wrong and we might fail, and it's going to be like the worst thing ever. That's how primitive brain will convince us. And it's very compelling, right? Which I feel like you were saying beautifully about, like, playing down the track. Like, do you want this career? Do you want to end up in the same position of this person if you follow this path? Doing that, but in a way when you feel good and calm and not emotionally charged, is very important, because it will give you like a more true reflection of how you're feeling about it. Because you could make an assessment of like on the day your boss is having a really bad day, and you'll be like, absolutely not, I don't want that. Yes. So just having that, playing it forward, which is great, playing the outcome forward when you feel good and calm is an amazing way to do it, I think.
I do also think, though, there is also that part of building that inner foundation, because if we take ourselves out of our comfort zone, if we're like, oh, I want to go in a new direction, or I really want to find out what I'm really capable of, that's going to push me out of my comfort zone, or that might put you at risk, because if you're really going for it, you might risk failing in front of people, which obviously we have a fear about. I think that one of the important first steps is to just do a little review. How solid am I in my sense of self-worth? Have I got backup plans if things go wrong? Do I have people who will give me security and support so that I can take that risk that helps me find out what I'm really capable of? Like I often think about sports people. They go out in front of the whole world and try and be number one at something. And if they come number two, or if they come last, or if they fall over and hurt themselves, everybody sees it.
Exactly. And it's like when they go to the Olympics, it's not like these are the top athletes in the world, and literally, even if you come in last place, you're still way ahead of like however many billion people there are on the planet. Primitive brain will go, you're last.
Well, so my friend Aaron Phipps was in the Paralympics in Paris, and I went to see him, which is incredible. Now, Aaron already has a gold medal in Japan. He's a total legend. So So he's already been the best in the world at something, which is just like, that is so crazy to me.
It's awesome.
And so I went to Paris to watch them.
I've always wanted an Olympic gold medal.
Have you?
Yeah. I don't know what
that your unfulfilled potential.
My unfulfilled potential. Right, everyone. No more hypnotherapy. No more podcasts. I'm going to go and be an athlete. As James would tell me, you're too old.
Did he tell you that? That's very sweet of him. Love that. So supportive.
It's very accurate.
No, but there
Please
is something
Aaron.
incredible, right?
Yeah.
Imagine. I know I'm never going to have Olympic gold. Imagine having Olympic gold at something. So he has an Olympic gold at something.
Freaking brilliant.
Absolutely incredible. But when they were in Japan, they weren't allowed anyone to watch because it was in the pandemic.
Okay.
So his family watching from home. I was watching my PJs, watching the TV at home. I literally wept when he got a medal. I was like, it's so wonderful.
That's so amazing.
And then he said he was going to be in Paris. So I thought, great, I can go and watch my friend. In my head, I'm like, win another gold medal. Okay.
I love it.
And they came fourth.
Okay, brilliant.
No. No.
But not if you're an Olympian.
No. If you're
especially if you've had
an
a gold
Olympian,
medal
coming
winner.
fourth is the worst.
Yeah.
You don't get any medal. It's like actually fourth is in some ways worse than second if you've already had a gold because he's already got gold in the bank. Mm-hmm. And so I watched these grown men weep when they came fourth. Mm-hmm. Weep publicly in front of everyone because they had worked so hard and they were so close and then they didn't get the medal. And the thing is, to really go for something and to put it all out there and to not get it publicly is incredibly hard psychologically. Definitely. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who's watching that their potential is to get a gold medal and they're all going to go out and publicly try and get one. But I do think if you are going to really go for something, you need to make sure that you are mentally prepared for missing the mark or for having challenges on the way and that you have the right support to do that. Because you know, that can be hard. Like I have pushed myself to maybe speak in front of bigger audiences and it's gone really well, but it could have not gone well.
Yes.
And say my entire living and worth was based on being a public speaker, which it isn't. That could have been a disaster. So I do think there's like a self-care element where it's like work out where you want to push yourself. What potential do you have? What do you want to find out that you're capable of? But if it's something that means going out on a limb, make sure you've got, like Aaron's got a fantastic coach. You know, a lot of sports people work with psychologists. Definitely. But what support have you got? Coaching, a partner, a backup plan, all those things. And that means that when you go and then actually try and do that thing, you'll be more successful because your brain isn't like, if this doesn't go well, I'm going to die.
Exactly. And there's a really lovely quote where that little voice, this isn't the quote, I'll get to the quote in a second. It's that little voice where it's like, I think there's more to it, or I could be doing more. That little voice will start to pop up more regularly for you. And number one, like if you're not sure or you're feeling, or you haven't got those wonderful options and the people to catch you in place, especially if you're going to, as far as our primitive brain's concerned, sacrifice ourselves on the altar of public dignity, then it's having those options. If you don't have those options in place, there's nothing wrong with just doing nothing. Sometimes the best decision is a decision to wait or to just do nothing and just gather some more information. That is absolutely fine. That said, what I find sometimes with my clients is, and this is where the quote comes in, and the day came when it remained too painful to stay like within the chrysalis rather than bloom. And people do get to that point where it's like, it's now too painful to stay where I am. And therefore that step forward, however uncomfortable, is now the natural next step to fulfilling our potential.
Wow, I love that. That seems like a wonderful quote to end on.
Yes, I was quite proud of myself for that. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you, my love. As always, like you've given me so much to think about and like you've just given me your wonderful insight, which is always so valuable, and I'm appreciative of you.
And you too. I love these conversations because we genuinely do not prepare. So we have no I know we shouldn't admit that. That sounds like negligence, but we do it because we want these conversations to be really real and authentic. And so every time we have no idea what the other person's going to share. And every time I take away something that helps me personally. So thank you.
Me too. No, thank you. Mwah. And thank you to all of you too. We're so pleased that you show up for us and show up for yourselves. And as always, if you can like, comment, share this lovely podcast, we would be very appreciative.